Hey, it's me, Ashley, again. This is my third review. I will be discussing the second book in the 50 Shades of Grey trilogy, which is called 50 Shades Darker. It is, of course, written by E.L. James, and the time lapse between the first book and the second book, I want to say it's about a week. Basically, the end of the first book shows Anna leaving Christian. Christian finally shows Anna a side of himself that's a bit sadistic, and Anna naturally feels she's in over her head and breaks off the relationship. And of course, in the second book, she feels that she's fallen in love with Christian, and Christian realizes that he has deep feelings for Anna, so they instantly reconnect and they go back into their overly sexual relationship. The good thing about this second book is that new characters are introduced to the reader, and I feel it's added a lot more depth in this book that was lacking in the first book. Some of the new characters, let me go into that. For example, one is a man by the name of Jack Hyde. He is Anna's boss. In this book, Anna has started her job at this independent publishing firm, and he seems to be another man that seems to admire Anna. The running gag in the first book is that she has, I don't want to say a long list of guys that find her attractive, but there's like a couple of guys that have a crush on her, and her boss seems to be added onto the list, although her boss's behavior seems a tad bit inappropriate. And Christian, of course, doesn't trust the guy. Although Christian, like I said before in the first book, he's a control freak. He goes out of his way to try to protect Anna from the world, but the way Jack acts towards Anna makes Christian's overprotectiveness, to me, reasonable. And that adds a great subplot to the book. Another character that's introduced is Elena. She was mentioned in the first book. She was referred to as Mrs. Robinson in the first book. That was like the running joke between Anna and Christian. She's, I want to say, Christian Grey's mentor. She introduced Christian to, I guess I could say, kinky lifestyle when he was, like, I want to say, a teenager. And in a way, he still considers her a really close friend of his. She's a business partner of his, actually, and he considers her a close confidant. Although it's kind of funny that once he starts his actual relationship with Anna, because he wants things to really work with her, he tries to keep Elena away from Anna, because Anna feels this woman is her rival. She considers her a pedophile, and I kind of agree with her on that, because she molested Christian, basically. He was a kid, and she's a grown woman at this point. She was married to somebody else, and they were doing these sexual things with each other. But it's kind of weird that he never once throughout the whole series said, this woman molested me. He felt what they did wasn't wrong to him. He felt it was a natural thing, and even in the end, when he just never once said, okay, what she did to me was wrong. So I thought that was kind of strange. But to me, Elena was actually the most intriguing person out of this whole book. She added conflict. I want to say she lit a fire under Anna's ass, basically. But the only thing that confused me about Elena is that she was being really persistent on trying to form a relationship with Anna, and I really didn't get that, because both Anna and Christian were like, stay out of our relationship, and this woman was pushing to try to be friends with her. Also, towards the end of the book, I hope I'm not giving anything away, towards the end of the book, her true colors come out, and she actually doesn't like Anna because she feels like Anna is changing Christian. And they have a confrontation at a dinner party towards the end of the book that I actually found entertaining. But let me get on to another interesting character in the book. Another character that's introduced is a girl by the name of Layla. She was actually one of Christian's submissives. And she actually has a strange resemblance to Anna. Basically, all of Christian's submissives had the same look as Anna. They were brunette, skinny, very pure, and the thing about that is they all have a connection to Christian's mother. Christian's mother is basically, birth mother is basically, was a crack whore. So that's why Christian has a lot of deep-rooted issues. But basically this girl Layla stalks the couple, adds complications, and makes Anna actually examine her relationship with Christian. But ultimately, it brings her and Christian closer together, but it also makes things between them kind of implode. But like I said, in the end, it brings them closer together. Also, in this book, you learn more about Christian Gray's childhood. You figure out why he is the way he is. He opens up more, and he gradually starts to bring his walls down. He also starts to be slightly more romantic towards Anna, which makes him slightly more likable to me, but I still found him a little unlikable. But it was still nice to see that he actually had a tender side. I did have some frustrating points with this book. One of them being, I still, in a way, Anna's character to me was still kind of hard to swallow. One of the things is, it's kind of weird that she wanted rougher sex with Christian, but that's the thing that made their relationship complicated to begin with. So that was a little confusing to me. Another thing is, I'm trying not to spoil it, but basically they get engaged towards the end of the book. The thing with Layla complicates things, and basically, like I said, the relationship implodes, and I felt Christian proposes to Anna to get her to stay. Not because, I mean, he maybe does love her, but it just, to me, the proposal wasn't as romantic. It was out of fear of losing this girl, and it was just very hasty, and it just didn't sit well with me. A good thing about the author, though, she eases up on, in the first book, Anna tends to bite her bottom lip a lot, and it just made me roll my eyes. So she eased up on that. Anna also in the first book tended to flush a lot whenever Christian would say something to her or even look at her. So she eased up on that too. She kind of eased up on using Anna's subconscious and inner goddess. They were still mentioned, but it wasn't as much. It wasn't like every other fucking page. The sex scenes were still graphic. They were pretty vivid. They do kind of new stuff with each other. So if you're looking for that as a reader, that grabs your attention. The subplots to me are a great distraction from all the sex in the book, though. But overall, it was a decent read. Like the first book, towards the end of the second book, after they get engaged, there's a dinner party celebrating engagement, and I don't want to give too much away, but there's an indication that Anna and Christian won't exactly have a happily ever after at all. So the second book draws you into, you have to read the third book to get to the conclusion to figure out how the story ends. So I'll say it was a decent read. It was pretty quick to read. The subplots in it made it a tad more interesting, and I'll try to do a review of the third book. I want to say sometime next week. I was going to try to do it this weekend, but I actually have other things that have come up, so hopefully by sometime next week I will have the third book up. So thanks.